We have our first partner update in this new year in 2024, and I welcome you to this session. It is, as always, the session will be recorded, and we will have the video available in our partner portal. But for you to know, you are muted and your video is deactivated throughout all of the speeches. So for those that are in the speaker role, we have our cameras and microphones muted during the speeches of the others. And if you have any questions during the presentations, please use the Q&A function. There's a chat function and a Q&A function. Please use the Q&A function to start writing down your questions, and we will try to answer them during the presentations in writing, and we'll definitely pick up on them at the end in our Q&A session. Today's speaker, most of you know them, Ingolf, we have Joseph and Ingmar and myself. And this is the agenda. I will hand over at this point to Joseph so he can give you an overview of today's agenda. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you, Geraldine. Thank you, everybody, for joining this webinar. So I share the screen. First of all, just give me a hint when you see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm very happy today to present you a lot of new topics, a lot of new stuff that is coming in the next days, in the next weeks. And let me introduce you the agenda. So first of all, we have some updates, very few updates, very quick, about the current implementations. Two topics that I want briefly to show you and to inform. If some partner have not this information yet, then it's a good occasion to get it. Then we'll come to the roadmap. We'll start with this time with the roadmap and the upcoming topics in the next weeks. And I want to show here what we have now out of the box and what you will be able to do in few days or in few weeks with MAB, with our new platform. Then we will dig a bit in details in the new authentication methods that we will provide. Here we will show you very innovative stuff. And after that, we will dig in also more in detail in the identification methods that we are going to propose in the new MAB context. Then we will go in detail. We'll speak a bit, I would say, OIDC, so a bit technical, but it's interesting also to go in this topic to see what the platform can offer and what feature you can use to build up your processes, your use case. And at the end, we will give also you an outlook about what we plan for the next month and the next quarters. And finally, Ingolf will take over with some interesting compliance topics, news and insights about everything what's happening on the side of the supervisory bodies and standards. And we will finalize also the agenda with the pricing. We'll go in detail with the pricing. Okay, so let's start with the first topic. So I have, as I introduced, a few topics. So the first topic is about SmartFlow. So partners who have integrated the SmartFlow have got some time ago the recommendation or the need to change the authentication method to SmartFlow. Just to remind, SmartFlow is a product that we launched to enable a partner to have the possibility to make the acceptance of the TSNC and such kind of things on their side, and to customize completely the flows with, I would say, the legacy world or the current world, not the MAB platform. And here we change the authentication mean for security reasons. And from now on, you are not able to use anymore the API keys, but you need to use SRS credentials. So it's a bit technically, but just to remind this, if partner have not done this and face some issues, so it's still time to do it. Normally you have SRS credentials, and I've also put here as a hint the link to the integration guide where everything is described in detail. So normally we have no issue because we didn't see in the logs or so that some partners have missed something. But to be good. Just one last information about that. Also, our web page is still available. So a partner who uses this web page, who send the user to this front end to maybe to accept the TS and see if the SMS was not got, for example, this is still running and up to date. So just to know. This was the first operational info that we wanted to give you. Then we have a second one. This is concerning the password OTP process. Here we implemented two main improvements. So one improvement was more about the dimensions of the screens. So there was some hiccups when the size changes, when the message length and such kind of things were not well handled. This should be now fine and should work on the browser, and everything should now be shown correctly. This was one improvement that was needed by a lot of partners. And a second improvement, and this is very good from my opinion, because it's autofill of the SMS. So previously you had to get your SMS, to copy paste and to put it in the field. So now this is now automated. So this is a very good improvement, and it increase a lot the usability. Even if I can add as a final point, this PVD OTP is not something that we see in the future, but we need to maintain it, and we need to make it work well. And that's what we did with these two changes. Well, these were the two operational changes. Let's now have a look to what we have done, what we have now out of the box in our MAB currently, and what we plan. More interesting, I think, for you. The first thing is, so for now, MAB, just a reminder, MAB stays for Multiple Authentication Broker. I didn't repeat this. I think I said it a lot of time in the last webinar, but maybe it was forgotten since then. So MAB means Multiple Authentication Broker. So what we provide already today is to be able to approve signatures with mobile ID, with password OTP, with signature approval app, with the PostFinance app, and so on. This is already live. We have also the signing orchestration that is done. Now it will get power because we will add identification, what was not the case till now. We have the different requests that can be done, the PAR request, where a partner can enforce stuff and so on, and the CBAR request, where the partner can completely customize his own look and feel. So I will come back to this point afterwards. We have also testing environment, so you can get a test case, a test account, and we assure all the backwards compatibility. And so this is what the main goal for the first launch last year of the platform. So that means that if I'm already registered, I can for sure also sign on the new platform. Identification, what we have today. So maybe not in MAB today, just PostFinance bank ident, but over SRS. We have a video ident for the EU. We have the EID with the German ID. We have the video identification and auto identification for Switzerland. All this currently in SRS, but you will see it will come in MAB directly. And also the selfie ident for the European jurisdiction, and last but not least, the historical one, the ERAP, is still in our portfolio and is still running very well. So what is coming now in April? April, we will bring one key, I would say key is a good word, authentication mean, it's the passkey. It's based on the WebAuthn. So Ingmar will present this afterwards. We will go a bit in the details, but it's a very innovative and a very innovative. Maybe it exists since a long time, but it's a very easy and from a usability point of view, very good solution to approve signatures. Then the signature approval app that you already know, but now it will be possible to use it in the context of registration with different identification. I will also go into details with that. And then we will have MAB auto-identification for EU and Switzerland. So we will have, you'll see, we will have different identifications. We will have auto-identification also only for Switzerland, another one. So we will have different identifications that covers sometimes both jurisdictions, sometimes only one jurisdiction. I will go in detail for that when I present the identification. And we will have the video identification for Switzerland. Currently, we have it in the SRS context, but now we will have it completely integrated in the MAB and with the orchestration. And you will see on the MAB platform, we will provide new scopes, new features. The goal here is to bring more flexibility, to give you the possibility to cover all different use cases. One-time signing is also a topic. We will also present you that what we do in that direction, and it will also be available from April. So you see, April will be kind of big bang where we will bring a lot of stuff. So it's really a date where you should have a look on and be aware, and then see what is the most convenient for you or for the partners for your use case. Just a quick reminder about multiple authentication broker. Which possibility it gives. So, for example, the first possibility, if we have integrated an IDP, for example, currently post-finance bank ident, then it's possible just using my own bank ident app to approve a signature, to register first. It's a quick step, and then to use this banking app that I use for every day, maybe for other purpose, I can use it for the signature. So this is the first use case that we cover now with MAB. And the second is completely flexible possibility to get the registration and the signature orchestrated. So a partner can say, just make a sign request and say, okay, I want my user to sign. If it's not identified, then the orchestration is done on MAB side, depending on the choice of the partner. And the partner wants this ident or this ident, or let the choose to the user, it's also possible. And also the choice of the authentication. So this is now what we have implemented on the MAB, and now I will hand over to Ingmar, who will show you more in details how it works.
Yeah, a very good morning from my side. So the MAB is here and is going to stay. The MAB is an orchestration platform which orchestrates between the three scopes symbolized on this slide. So whenever we're talking about a use case, either repetitive signing or one-shot signing, we have to follow those steps, and the MAB orchestrates those steps. So we have the choice between several authentication scopes. We have the choice between several identity IPSPs or IDPs to choose in the ident scope, and once those are fulfilled, we basically hand over to the sign scope, where you as a partner implement the signing application. So we always follow this scope in a row and orchestrate between those rows. So whenever something happens during a scope, we will be able to provide you a fallback scenario. And the good thing at the MAB is that these scopes in a row are audited, meaning all journeys realized via the MAB, which we offer to you, are pre-audited, and there's no need for additional audits. That should significantly reduce the needs and the costs attached to audits. And we see a big advantage and a differentiator from our services to other services compared by other partners in the market. So on next slide, please. That would mean we not just handle the order of the different scopes, we also allow you on a platform to customize the switch between those scopes. You're not bound to UI, which is delivered by us. You can totally remote control what is happening in the scopes and give it your UI, your UX touch. As such, we're enabling partners by their different capabilities. Either you build your own UX UI journey, or you have a fallback on our default journey, where we try to be as wide labeled as possible for you. The technical means for doing this are basically PAR and CBER, more to be detailed in the MEB integration guide, which we start publishing as soon as possible. That will be the journey so far. We can go back to next topic. One slight hint, for example, the one-shot journey we implemented on the MEB through the realization of the MEB no longer requires registration of an authentication means. That is a major advancement in building one-shot journeys, in the sense of you no longer need to register for an SMS OTP in this journey. And we have many customers implementing one-shot journeys because for them, they just wanted a very short journey. They didn't want to go over the scope of registering an auth means. This journey becomes even more frictionless and advanced. So by adopting NMD, this path is now open to you, and I would encourage you to have a thorough look at it. Thank you, Joseph.
Oh, sorry for that. I stopped sharing, so I'll try again. So, do you see the screen?
You're back. Yeah.
Screen again? Okay, sorry for that. Wrong click. Okay, yeah, the next part is authentication method, where we want to go a bit more in detail what we will propose. And yes, and here we start with the passkey. And here also, Igmar, you wanted to explain a bit around this passkey.
Yes. So passkey is a standard enforced via the Web Audit Standards. There is a big alliance behind the so-called FIDO2 alliance, supported by Microsoft, Apple, Google, all the major players in the market, and they have ramped up their support for these technologies during the last 2 years, made major advancements in 2023. So as last major browser to support passkey, Firefox released in its version 100 in 2022 the support for passkey in January of this year, which now presents us with an opportunity that every major OS and browser natively supports the application of passkeys. Passkey in itself is a technical standard which is no longer allowing the man-in-the-middle attack. Passwords can no longer be sniffed out by malicious websites which trick you into giving up your credentials. And passkey is supported meaningless when you switch from, let's say, your mobile phone to your desktop application or back. The passkeys can be synced through your environment of devices with your accounts connected. So for example, in the Apple world, that would be your Apple account through which the passkeys are synced over all your devices. If you're in the Google universe, same can be said for your Google login. So on every device, either Android or your desktop, you can log in and your passkeys will be available, which brings two major advances. We are based on an internet technology, so whenever you have internet connection, passkey will work. Secondly, it's pushed by the major providers, so more and more use cases will create a track for this technology to be adopted. And that's why we see to invest in this topic as a new authentication means, solving several problems occurring from legacy, but also outdated technologies. I think we have a video showing how it's going forward.
So on the next slide, yeah, I can start it and then you can maybe comment.
So this is a screenshot taken from our development environment. We start the journey with a signed context. Then we choose the passkey as authentication means. We haven't registered yet for one, so we create one. The passkey is created in the background and saved in a trusted environment on your computer, which is either the TPM module or a secured chain. And from that point on, this passkey for this specific website, or in this sense, we as a signature provider, is available. So whenever we ask you, can you provide us a passkey, you can log in and we will recognize you again by this one. And you provide directly with your signature. In this scenario right now, we haven't registered previously, so we're doing an identification. We go through terms of use, acceptance, and that's it. We're ready and set up. So next time I come signing a context, I select passkey as authentication means. I identify myself by a passkey, which is bound to a second authentication, in this case, with a smile, Face ID or fingerprint. You see here the fingerprint coming up. All the means and regulations are fully satisfied. So we have a very good authentication means allowing us to issue CAS. CAS has been issued because we recognized you, and the whole journey has been completed. So very fast, lean new method for authentication, solving problems mostly which arose in past through SMS, and that we weren't able to guarantee that we could deliver SMS worldwide. This now has been addressed in detail.
Great, thanks a lot, Igmar. A very well presentation, and I hope the partner could also see the power of this authentication means. So it's very, very good, and it's going to be now spread over a lot of internet services that are using passkey now. So I think this will be some kind of game changer. Yeah. Let's also speak about the approval app. So we already presented last time. So here we the main goal of this approval app, so it's also an authentication mean to approve signatures. The main goal for that was to get rid of the SMS, not to use a PVD SMS password OTP, sorry, anymore. And also with the mobile ID context, you need always an SMS to onboard. So with the approval app, you need no SMS. So the onboarding is done with a QR code, and the signature is also done with a QR code. We start with supporting 4 languages, but we plan to extend it to all the language that we will need from our partner. We are on iOS and Android, and for sure it's also a very secure product. It's based on the FutureRay solution. That is very secure. So I have also here a short demo that I can show you how it works. So first of all, everything starts as for passkey in the MAB context, always with a signature, and then whether the user chooses I want to use the approval app, or the partner enforces, says, okay, I want all my user group to use the approval app, then whether the user has already the approval app or not. If he has the approval app and registered, then he could sign. If not, he will just have to download it and to install it, to onboard it with the onboarding QR code. And then for signing, he will just have to scan the QR code within the app and then approve. He can compare the transaction ID to be sure, okay, he's in the right context, and then the signature is done. So also here we wanted to provide a very easy way to approve signatures with his free downloadable app without complicated onboarding or SMS trouble or such kind of things. So Android is already in the app stores, and iOS will follow. So for April, this will be available as passkey, by the way, for the authentication for the different identification methods and registrations. Well, backwards compatibility, just to be sure that there is nobody is scared here that the what we have today will not work anymore. We have completely backwards compatible, so people who are already registered on the current situation platform, they can sign in MAB without any difficulty. Yeah? So we support mobile ID, we support PVD, OTP, and so on. And another thing I wanted to add here, what's very important is MAB can also be used in parallel with the current implementation. So if you, for the migration purpose, if you think, yeah, it's a bit difficult for my use case to migrate to MAB, then you can get MAB and migrate step by step the customer or the use case on the new platform. So both can run in parallel without any difficulty. Well, let's go now to the identification methods and have a look more deeply in detail what we will have beginning of April. In April, we will have a video ident for Switzerland. Here we work with our partner Intrum. Just to mention, Intrum is also working on the certification for EU. So we plan that in short time, it will also be available for the EU jurisdiction. That's why you have this little star. So I do not want to tell much about video ident. It's well known. It's also well appreciated for a lot of users, even if we have now auto ident and a lot of stuff, but some user groups always like to use also video ident. So we want to propose a full portfolio of different methods so the partner can find the method that is the best fit for his use case. Supported language here, maybe it's a small error because it's not only German English, it's also French and Italian, and service availability. You will get this slide, so you will be able also to go in details. We will also bring the auto ident CH here also. We plan that it will be ready for the EU jurisdiction. So this, in difference with the video, you don't have an interaction with an agent. I think all the partner now know all this stuff, but just to mention. And I've put also a small demo here to show you the current integration in MAB. So you get an idea how it looks like. So let's start at the step where you have already onboarded your authentication mean. Now you have to choose your identification. You have chosen now Intrum auto ident. So here we use the robot to go through the process. So it's not a real identification, but just to show you. Then we have a landing page where we show the QR code, and the user has just to scan this QR code. And then the ID Now app, because the technology is the technology from ID Now, opens, and the user accepts the terms and condition as usual. And then he has to do some steps. He has to scan the document. So you see on the right here what's going on. I just stopped it not to show the passport of my colleague. And now we continue. Okay, and then we have to do a selfie, and then the face is compared by an AI. You know all this stuff. So I go a bit quicker here. So, and after the selfie is done, so this is my colleague. He authorized me to show this. So, and then everything is uploaded, and an evidence is created if the identification was successful, for sure. And then at the end, we come back to MAB platform, successful, and we go back to the signing platform. So it's as easy as that to do node identification. So partners who have already integrated SRS today, they know this process. It will be the same, but the orchestration will be on MAB side, so you don't have to poll for the status of the identification. Is it finished? Is it not? Did he accept the T&C and not? So you have seen here, it's all orchestrated by MAB. So you just sign ident, and then you come back and everything is done. So that's exactly what our promise that we want to propose to our partner. Then we have also the selfie ident. So this is a cooperation with our partner Nect. So we have already the selfie ident solution in our SRS. We will bring it in MAB, but maybe a bit later. So we are working on it. We will not be ready for the 3rd of April, but this will come later. So this is also, it's working with passports and the German ID card. And Nect is now also adding some more ID cards, for example, the Polish ID card and such things. So it's growing. So this is working with an app. This I didn't mention in the previous auto ident with Intrum. It's also working with an app, so the user has to download an app. Then we have another method that we will bring in April. Sorry, I was too fast. And this is a collaboration with Fidentity. And here the difference is that everything works in the browser. So the user does not have to download an app. It also supports NFC. So we can read out the data from the passport directly, and it works all in the browser. So you can start on the mobile flow on the mobile device, and you end up on the mobile device in the browser, or you can start on a laptop in the browser, and then you have to scan a QR code, and then you end up in the mobile device on the browser, and then you finish in the browser, and then you can go back to the laptop. So everything is possible here. But it's always difficult a bit to explain, so that's why we have a short video to show how it works. So as usual, we start with MAB request, a signing request. We onboard an authentication mean. So maybe I go a bit faster here. So this you know already, we have onboarded an authentication mean. Oh, now I was too fast. And then when it comes to the ident, here. When you come to the idents here, I have chosen now Fidentity, or it was enforced by the partner. And now I come to the landing page of Fidentity for this process. So you see a QR code. So now I have to scan it with my mobile phone. If I had started now on the mobile, I would just continue on the mobile phone and continue the process. So here you will see the different steps. So as all these auto identification process, you have also always to scan the face recognition, liveness check, and such kind of things. In this, it's a bit funny because you have to smile at the end, but why not? Every partner has his own characteristics. Thank you for the smile. And then you will see the NFC reading of the document. I go a bit faster here. Yeah, you see here, you get some videos. So we blurred the document just not to show it here. And you are explaining what we have to do, the security elements, such kind of things. And now it says NFC scanning. And that's coming. So you are explaining what to do. Here, there can be a fallback. Normally, you don't have to install an app here for the NFC, but if, depending on the device and on the context, it can be that you have to install an app, but you are led in the process. It's very well done, so the user is not lost somewhere in a dead end. And then the data is processed. Now we have the evidence of the identification, the proof of the identification, and now the user is registered, in this case with the approval app. And if he has done this with the passkey, then now he could sign with the passkey. Well, this was, so this method will come in April, and it's quite powerful. And we think it will bring a lot. We have also started with TINM. They have also an identification method based on an app. So you have to download an app again. With other characteristics, also NFC and fallback with back office check and so on. I will not go too much in details, but here we plan that this will be available more in May, June this year, but not in the beginning in April. Then I like to present also this this method that you know very well, but maybe there are some new partners here who didn't hear about that. This is the ERA app. So here also we think about a new pricing. We will inform soon about new pricing here for the ERA app. This is, for now, it was freely used. You can go just to a Swisscom shop, get identified and so on. And yeah, it's a very powerful solution because it's very easy. A partner can within a few days organize his ERA agency internally. So we show it on this picture. You can have one master ERA, and then you can have a lot of ERA agents who are identifying all the people in a company. By the way, we are doing this at Swisscom, so we are using our own food, as we say, and so it's a very powerful solution here. It's a face-to-face identification. So the other advantage is it is a high level of identification, and it also allows to sign for the EU jurisdiction and the Swiss jurisdiction. So that's always loved by our partner. Yeah, then in this part, before I hand over to Ingolf, we wanted to give you some hints, also some features that it's good to know, and maybe some hints how to start, because MAB, it may sound complex, and there is a lot of stuff. So we wanted here to give you, again, some information. So you have the partner area here, where you will be able to find the integration guide of the MAB. So about this, we have now a first version, but it's very long and very, long to read and maybe complicated. So we are always working on it to make it better, to provide you samples. So this is an ongoing work, but you can still access it and start implementing. And for sure, we will help you on this if you encounter some trouble. Yeah. Then you can also ask for a test account. So here we have a contract. You can get a test account. The advantage here is that you can test end-to-end the signature, even the signature, and that's very good. And you have two possibilities for the authentication, whether you provide a CSR and you keep the private key on your side, or we can provide you a certificate. We have the two options here. The test account is a 90-day account, and you can only make an advanced signature. But for testing, it's just perfect. Then we have this demo page that you have maybe that we use always when we show you the videos and so on, where you click on sign and you can try it out. Here we will refactor it to provide you a more efficient way, just to not to test, but just to get an idea. How is the onboarding working? How is passkey working? So you will just be able to click, and so we are working on this. And our support also, just to remind that we have this help center. I've also put the link here, and this help formula that you can where you can contact us. And please do not forget the pro number. Maybe I tell this in each webinar, but I think it's good to remind it. And also at this point, service status, and the RSS feed. So it's very useful to get it. Because, for example, changes, as I said in the beginning with SmartFlow and so on, we always inform over the RSS feed. So it's very good that you have onboarded it, so you get all this information in real time. Now let's speak a bit OIDC, or let's try just here to give you an overview what is coming in the next release, so in April, and what is the meaning of that. So first thing we call WebFinger. So it's a standard OIDC word, I would say. Here we have always the need that the partner says, yeah, I have a user, I know his UID or I know his mobile number, but I want to know, can he sign? And this is exactly that. So for current partner, they know the lookup call. So it's a bit the same because you say, I have a user, he wants to sign qualified for the jurisdiction CH. Can he sign? And we just respond, yes, he can, or not, he cannot. So this is interesting for partner who want a bit to orchestrate on their side. Normally, we orchestrate everything on our side, but if the partner says, I just want to have this info, and then I want to start an ident and so on, it can be useful. In the same area of possibilities, we also offer the scope out. So the scope out is I have the user. I know he uses approval app, for example, but I don't have the UID of this user, so I cannot do the web finger to know if he can sign or not. And this scope out, I can just trigger the authentication of a user, and then I get this information. Or I want to trigger this out for other purpose. So this is something also we developed. Then we also improved here what we call the map status response. So when you start an ident, and as MAP is orchestrating everything, so it's useful for the partner to know what happened in this. For sure, he will see it on the bill, but in the flow, it's necessary to know, okay, this user was not registered, or he was and he just signed. And if he was not registered, well, he chooses this method, and the method was successful, and now he's registered. So this information we give back. So also this is documented in the guide, and then you can also give more accuracy in the flow that you will build. Then, very technical point here, CIBA call. So you know that the CIBA call is used if you want not to show our look and feel for the QR code and so on. So you just get from a back channel the QR code, and then you put it in your own look and feel so that the user can approve the signature. And here, currently, it's a polling that is done. And polling is always, it's a bit from a performance point of view, and it's not so well. So we planned a long time ago already to have a callback for that, and that's now implemented also. So it will come in the next release, and all this is protected with MTLS and so on. So you will see all the details in the integration guide. By the way, I just put a screenshot here how it looks like in our partner area. So if you don't have a login now for the partner area, just ask for it. It's very easy to onboard here also. And then this last point I wanted to mention also, but I didn't go in detail for this point because I don't want to take too much time. We have also the possibility from April to have for the partner the possibility for the own usage of data. For example, if in your process, I don't know, maybe AML process, you need the data, then we have a special setup. We call it delegated setup. And then in this case, we fetch the data for the purpose of the signature, and the partner can also fetch the data for his own purpose. So this is already in the next release. And what is coming very soon, so maybe it will be a minor release in the coming months, it's a scope ident. So here we are a bit late in the development, but this is something that we prioritize just after all this release. And another topic that will come also is the fast track. So currently a lot of partner uses the fast track. So the fact that I can sign and make an advanced signature for Switzerland just by the fact that I have a Swiss number. So this will be also covered by MAB. But not now in April, it will come a bit later. So we will inform about that. Then I hand over again to Igmar, who will give you an outlook about what's coming next.
Yeah, good that you have explained once again how to get to the partner area through our website. And if you have any other means of registering, I think Geraldine can help you out there later on. So, Outlook. We've shown you what we're bringing in April.
We don't see your screen, Igmar. We saw.
Yeah, and you didn't hear me either. Okay. Thank you for showing again the partner login, which is
you still
on our website.
You still see the screen, my screen, or?
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
I think everybody can see it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Coming back to the agenda, we have shown you what we're bringing in April, and Joseph indicated in the last 3 slides what we already have lined up for the next release. So in long term, we're looking at going broader, going brighter. We're bringing more identification, either video identification and auto identification to the platform, because our goal is to bring you the best of breed out there. So we're extending our partnerships and bring individualized journeys to you. So it's up to you for which partner you want to opt in and which user journey you realize through those means. If you have given us your very keen attention, you might have realized that the signing area right now only covers person signatures in a natural person jurisdiction for IDES and Switzerland. So something missing was the seal topic. Of course, we're working in the background on the seal topic. We see seal as an uplift topic in the market. And the current solution in market of our product, we deemed the process for getting actual seal issued is cumbersome, but it's heavily regulated. So we're having a thorough look to improve those processes and being a better fit for offering these products to the market. In the long term, we want to extend our interfaces to support CSC, the Cloud Signing Consortium. That offers possibilities to adapt with partners using those standards like the famous Adobe, Foxit, DocuSign. So we're extending these branches. And of course, as Joseph already has introduced, one major demand coming back from our partners, and we listen to you partners, is the need for reporting back technical status, process status achievements during the journey. So we will extend the status messages you will receive back from the MAB through further elements. And the ARR app, we covered already that we want to introduce a pricing there, and we're going to extend it by further authentication means, because who knows the ARR app right now, it's bound to the SMS and mobile ID. Having now all those new authentication means at hand, we will think over and decide on which authentication means to bring next in the ARR app. I think so much for the outlook. Shall we hand over to Ingolf then?
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful good morning. So I will now take over the screen. Thank you to all. I will go to a topic. For somebody, it's probably boring. Others are very curious. It's compliance. It's special. And okay, in the last slide, I will also tell something about the new pricing, which is behind all the stuff you heard beforehand. So we see, especially in the last year, a huge change in regulations, mostly driven by the EU regulations, laws, but also regulations in Switzerland are changing, and also in the EU, and there will be also a lot of change in the future. And the good thing is Swisscom will handle this for you. If somebody asks me what's your job, it's legal engineering in the moment, really. Yeah? So to drive around all these regulations, and also the multiple authentication broker is a way to handle this in a best way. So let's go through what is coming over from the EU. Probably you have seen this also in the press releases. Yeah, so they react in the moment to increasing damage and threats, especially from the war between Ukraine and Russia, and also from North Korea, China, and also other threats which are coming over. They have released a lot of acts. So the last act, which was released now this week, was the Artificial Intelligence Act. Also here we will see if this will reflect us, especially in the identification processes where biometry is used, for example. Others are the Digital Operational Resilience Act, but then also the NIS2, which is in part also regulated in EIDAS. And we are now a critical infrastructure according to NIS2. And this starts in September of this year. And I think this is the directive which affects us the most also in the upcoming months. And in parallel to all these acts, but also to the new EIDAS version 2, ETSI and CEN is now updating the standards. And especially partners who are using their own identification or authentication means beyond the standard means we are offering, will be confronted then also with the new regulations and new updates. And especially here you see also the support for NIS2, and the trust services. Yeah, so here we will have some general policy requirements for the trust service providers, and especially they have to have a deep look into the supply chain. And there are also a lot of new requirements concerning the supply chain. Yeah. And then we have also the new Information Security Act of the Federation from Switzerland, which concerns almost everybody. Probably you know that we had also some cyber threats here in Switzerland, especially during the Zelensky speech. And also here there is now a new look for everybody who is delivering services also to federal and cantonal and official authorities, let's say, that they do this in a safe way, to sum it up. The NIS directive is from 2022 and was then also decided in December 2022, and by October in 2024 the member states must adopt this and publish the necessary acts to comply with the NIS2 directive. We have in the moment a difficulty that Austria has even not a draft for this really. And they are very busy in the moment with elections and other stuff. I hope that this will be fulfilled then this October. Otherwise, we have the problem that we, from the audit, we fall under a NIS2, but it is not nationally regulated, only by the directive. Also here, like in GDPR and other laws, you see the tendency that there are always now penalties, up to several million and so on. Swisscom has to pay in case there is some abuse. The important obligations of NIS2 are cybersecurity risk management mainly. Yeah, so we have to have a look not only to our own cybersecurity measures, but also to the cybersecurity measures of the supply chain. How is business continuity? How is the incident handling done? How is risk analysis done? And so on and so on. If you are going for ISO 27001 and others, you know this stuff very well. So this is then not a real problem, but if this is not done, it could something which is new. Other very important stuff is the reporting of significant incidents within 24 hours and update after 72 hours. So supply chain for us are especially identification authentication methods, which are used for us beyond, of course, other supply chain, the HSMs we are using or any other software we are using within our signing service. So not the normal partner is affected, so they should use the MAP, so the multiple authentication brokers with the standard identifications and the standard authentications. So we will keep them updated according to the regulations. But if you come over and say, hey, I have a bank and this bank has a special identification procedure, we have to undergo this, then we have to keep an eye on this also from the point of NIS2. But typically, we've seen also in the past, these partners are partners which have also a huge standard. So typically, a big bank in Switzerland follows up all the relevant ISO standards. But nevertheless, we have to do the job here. It's required, and it's now also in the new EN 394/01 draft, which will become public end of this year, where I will not read it here, but you see supply chain, what are the measurements and so on, and we have to propagate the appropriate security practices throughout the supply chain and so on and so on. So we will start here small, probably also with a self-assessment and look what is still possible, and later on we have then also to fight with our auditors and see if this is enough or if it's even more is required. But this just for you as information. I will not go through all the details here. Yeah, so but you see there are a lot of requirements inside. Yeah. Probably also very interesting for you acting in Europe then, the final vote passes for the eIDAS 2.0 proposal. The eIDAS 2.0 will introduce, just to remind you, a new bunch of trust services. So, for example, also archival services or so, and also the new e-wallet, which will become available then in 2026 and 2027. At least this is the plan to all the EU citizens. But of course, will also revolutionize a little bit the practice of signature, since identification standards should be harmonized in all countries. And this is the latest timeline I got yesterday evening. So the approval by the Council is now planned for March 26, and then there will be again a Parliament plenary in 2023, where we get then the positive vote for this law, and typically it must be then publicated 2-3 weeks later. Probably this will be end of April or early May. So early May, the new law will come into force. And but this means not a lot in the moment, since the real music plays in the implementation acts. Yeah. For example, the new law in Article 24 says, hey, we need an identification method with a high confidence. So, and now it's a big question, what is high confidence? And this is typically then clarified in so-called implementation acts, which will be published then 6 or 24 months later. The law implies that in total 52 implementation acts have to be done in the next 1-2 years. It's a huge number. I doubt if this will really happen, but we will see. So forget about this one, because I've explained it with the latest update from yesterday evening. But it will then, of course, the implementation acts will target our service. So what means, for example, high confidence? Yeah. How is the same identification standards requirement then now solved for all the countries? Yeah. Is, for example, SMS approval still high or not? Yeah, so happy we have now with the new multiple authentication brokers the possibility to offer also other signature approval means. Yeah, and I think this is also the best way to handle this, to be very open and to be very flexible, also to add new methods and possibilities. Yeah. Then we have a new service which is called remote signing service. Of course, remote signing was always allowed, but now it's a new service. What does this mean? Are these only for us additional audit cost for additional audit certificate, or is there more behind it? Yeah. Then very interesting, we have new articles about non-QTSPs. This is stuff I do not really like, because it makes things more complicated in the EU. Yeah? So a normal EU citizen has to distinguish between a qualified trust service provider issuing qualified electronic signatures or advanced electronic signatures. And then in future, we will have also non-qualified trust service providers issuing advanced electronic signatures. So it's, I think, very difficult to understand, but okay, it was driven here by some countries which have put this year into the eIDAS version 2. And then we have also new implementing acts for the QSCD. So this is a qualified signing signature creation device. And here, since a long time, the new common criteria, so-called CC evaluation standard, is propagated. With the multiple authentication broker, we will go for this new standard. Yeah, we will also exchange our our engine behind it. You will not see it from your interface, but it will be exchanged against CC evaluated standard. Yeah, and then here we are safe if the standards comes up. You have seen it probably also in the Swiss law. It's already mentioned. I expect that this CC standard will come up. And then we have this nice sentence about free signature, which must be provided inside the wallets for only private purposes. How this interpretation is then done in 2026, 7, and so on. This will be also very interesting, I think, for all of us, not only for us, but also in special for you. The best thing to handle all this whole stuff is to become member of very powerful organizations. So we are member of the European Signature Dialogue. You will see this on LinkedIn. Sometimes I will publish some stuff. Yeah, you can name it a lobbying organization, but it's really, I've seen it, the organization to help also here in the legislative act to make things or to put the law in a way that it could be handled by us as a trust service. Yeah. And we are also invited now, for example, from the Club de Prestataires des Services de Confiance. Also in France, it's a TSP. So there we are participating now in a lot of different organizations, yeah, to handle here the law and also to make propositions how the implementing acts should be adopted. And Swisscom has created the same thing also for Switzerland, together with DigiCert and SwissSign and Bitkom, so that we have a small club where we could commonly also act on BACOM. Because also on 30S, now in summertime, there are changes planned. So first is that they will take the new ETSI specifications. I've shown some differences in the beginning. Yeah? So the new ETSI specifications starting in July will be part of the law. Then they will have new clarifications for the MERS first, middle, and last name. So there will be also stronger adaptations to the ETSI norm. Then there was a discussion if they would cancel the V30S Article 7.2. This is the article which allows financial intermediaries and video identification services to fulfill their work without any audit. And we asked them to be very carefully with this, and probably it will now be shifted to next year, they told us. Yeah, so that is the latest information I got. Then we have new articles about use of valid passports. Also here we are in strong discussions with the reformulation of this article, because, as you know, probably some EU citizens have invalid passports and they are valid. So this means if a passport was invalid for 3 years for a French citizen like Joseph or so, it's still valid. Yeah, it's still valid to travel inside Switzerland and also to travel to other EU countries. And even if he would go to his authorities and require for a new passport, they will refuse to substitute this passport if it is not 5 years over time. Yeah, so only if he says it's stolen or something else, then probably he will get a new passport. So we must be then very careful if we have such words as valid. How is this handled then? And also very interesting for those who have their own authentication identification methods. The audit in Switzerland will be now all 2 years. It was up to now 3-year cycle in Switzerland and 2-year cycle in the EU. So here also the adaptation to the EU standard. And we will also take part now in the third-party validation. So the validator of the EU will try to show that a QoS from Switzerland is valid in Switzerland. So they will no longer say, hey, it's not valid at all, but they will show it's valid in Switzerland. And they will show in that the QoS from Ukraine, for example, is valid in Ukraine. And then they also informed us that there are now talks started about the mutual acceptance of QAS between Switzerland and EU. And they hope to decouple these talks from the general discussions they have in the so-called bilateral discussions between EU and Switzerland. I'm very skeptical if this works very, very quickly. I think we will have also in the next year still different laws and different jurisdictions in Switzerland and in the EU. So how does it affect you? So as I said, if you have not our standard identifications and standard authentications, it will affect you more, and it will nearly not affect you or affect you less if you go for the standards, as always. Yeah. So if you have your own identification, you have to obey the new standards, and you have to recalculate also your business case to the new audit cycles. You have to have an audit every 2 years instead of every 3 years. This means some difference. And also the NIS2 supply chain obligations will lead then to additional yearly audits and self-audits we have then to put on our side. And to see that everything is done for risk management, monitoring, and alarming. We have also for those own identifications higher efforts and cost on the Swisscom side. So we will here have a new pricing for those who will introduce their own identification, since we have just more effort and more work also on our side to control this according to the new regulations. And the same is also with the own authentication means you will probably use. And you must know that there are also new authoritative costs for announcing those authentication means in Austria. So they require 2,500 euros, so which we also then put into our cost model. We have, of course, with the multiple authentication broker, eIDAS 2.0 readiness, yeah, because we have now also generic audited identification interfaces which allow to switch over from one identification method to another identification method if probably an identification method will not pass the newer requirements of eIDAS 2.0. And of course, also the connection with a new signing engine with common criteria, which is not possible certification, gives us then also the possibility to act in the new eIDAS version 2 environment. And so this is also the message I could give you to all of you partners, as always possible, stay with the standards. Yeah, and this is also what we want to enable with a multiple authentication broker. You should design your own way, your own workflow, of course, with your own CI/CD, yeah, but with a broker in the background which plays then the role in this high regulated environment. Yeah, and I think this is the main message here. Probably last slide here to our new pricing schemes, also with the multiple authentication brokers. We will have for our small partners so-called service packages all in. So this means there are the auto identification methods, there are the signature approval methods in there, there are the signature in there. Everything is first given by us and prepaid per month by the partner then. And it will not include any video identification method. We have still the possibility for video identification via vouchers if this is really necessary in some cases. Yeah, and we will not offer this for one-shot signatures. And also not offer this for big customers who have their own identification method and authentication methods, and then they want to go through an audit. So this is really pretty standard for small customers, starting with packages from 1,800 signatures per year, ending up till 10,000 signatures per year, and especially a rate between 530 and 1,820 Swiss francs per month. And then still for our medium and big partners, we have the individual contracts, which starts with 10K per year. And here we have then, of course, the signature units, which are given based on a volume pricing. So it's a prepaid volume pricing, which can start from 25 cents for an advanced electronic signatures and end up, of course, higher if the volume is not so high. And we have still this 200 Swiss francs per claimed ID. And the ident and authentication methods are post-paid per method, as it is nowadays also with the smart registration service. So we have additionally a monthly fee also for the support activities. And here also one-shot signing is possible, and also the incorporation of an new own identification method or approval method is possible. And we offer here also a SDK for approval, which could be used in your apps if the volume is probably also high enough to do this. And then beyond of this, we will have then seals packages, which start from 50K seals up to 5 million K seals, of course, even higher if you want, of course. And these are then also the prices between 280 Swiss francs and around about 8,000 Swiss francs per month. I think to discuss about the prices in detail, please contact then the respective growth managers, so they will be happy to give you here a guidance which will fit best for your model and how you could use it the best. Okay, thank you from my side. I would give back now to Geraldine, and probably we can then come over.
Thank you very much, Ingolf. I just quickly want to circle back actually on a very important point that Joseph and Ingmar mentioned, and it actually has to do with the partner login. We like to repeat it again that we have a login area where we share information, where we share our videos, our recordings, but many other documents that have to be behind a login wall. If you have one, you already know it. If you don't have a login, here on the website, on our main website and the menu, you see in the meta navigation, there is a partner login area. If you click on it, you will get a login. It just logged me in actually, but if you haven't got a login, there is a please sign up for the login link where we get a message and we can set you up. So that's the easiest way to actually get to your partner login. Otherwise, if something doesn't work, just contact us directly and we will set it up for you. Now, coming back to our main curriculum. We've arrived at the end. I want to thank Ingolf. I want to thank Ingmar and Joseph for the interesting information. And we are opening with this, the Q&A session. You have the choice for using the Q&A section in writing if you prefer that. And maybe Ingolf already has answered a few questions there. Maybe he wants to circle back to one of them and mention it. If you explicitly would like me to unmute you, just raise your hand there in the top of your Teams menu. You have a little icon, which hand, and you can raise it. I will try to then unmute you and you can ask your question personally.
Probably in the meantime, I can recapitulate, and I will stop if you have a question, of course. Recapitulate some of the questions I saw there, because it's always easier to give an answer here than in writing. So there was the question of Igor with the ERA app, which will be available. Yes, it will be available for EU and Switzerland furthermore. And we even will have a look that also the new signature approval methods will be available for this. Joseph has also shown this in Ingmar in the Outlook. And yeah, so this will be still available, and you could use all the identifications you did up to now with multiple authentication broker. Yeah, so they still work. There's no break. Of course, in the moment, just usable with mobile ID and password OTP, but there will be no change. Yeah, so of course. And then we had this question of the passkey, which will be backed up or not. So I very recommend to use the passkey, probably also personally. I used it now for Amazon, for eBay, for PayPal, you name it. Yeah, everywhere they introduce Passpal more or less successfully. I think this will be the upcoming standard. It will be fully synchronized normally if you do nothing, yeah, with all your devices in the same ecosystem, like Android, like Apple, like Windows. They are also now working together that this would be this would work together. Also, Chrome showed that they could use the passkeys also in iOS and then the other environments. So yes, but of course you have also possibilities to limit the passkey only on your device, and if this device is then lost, yeah, that's then the problem. Yeah. Then there was additional cost using Auto ID. So generally, the ERA app is in the moment for free, as also the identification in all the Swisscom shops. And it's a huge amount of money, by the way, we pay for this, just to give a chance to the digitization of the people. And a long time ago, it was not possible to do any online identification. Yeah, so the ERA app and face-to-face was the only way to come to an account. But we see now online identification are available. We have now very interesting prices also from partners, yeah, like Intrum, Fidentity, TINM, and so on, NECT, which show that it's now really available and payable by everybody. And yeah, it could be reused for several years, yeah, with authentication means. We buy those stuff from our partners, by the way. They are really specialists in this area, and we have to resell it, so it's then not for free. Yeah, so this is also, by the way. And new pricing ERA app, yeah, we will see now also in the next 2-3 months how this works with the new online identifications. And then probably, yeah, we have then also to introduce a pricing. I don't know if it is per ERA agency or per ERA agent. We will have a look to this. We are now calculating this in the moment. And yeah, then we will inform you by time.
Okay, there has no...
Ingolf, in the meantime, we got a question in the chat instead of in the Q&A. Maybe you switch over.
Yeah. How's the ERA app working with a multiple authentication broker? Multiple authentication broker opens the possibility to choose the way of the Willensbekundung in the process. Probably, Joseph, you could answer this.
Yeah, so in fact, I can say the ERA app is just backwards compatible with MAB. That means if somebody is registered by an agent using the ERA app, then he will be able to sign in MAB with his mobile number. Because for now, when you register somebody with the ERA app, he registers with the mobile number. So this is backwards compatible. But what we plan with the ERA app is that we will allow also to make the registration not only with the mobile number, but with a passkey or with another authentication mean. And in this case, the user will then be able to sign with this authentication mean.
But Joseph, concrete, if I see now there is a screen showing me passkey, mobile ID, password, OTP, I can select what happens if I'm registered by ERA app.
If I have already an evidence and I can already sign with the, maybe this is a question, yes, then I will just create a new evidence linked to the passkey, and then I will be able to sign with passkey. So I will not lose my capability to sign with mobile number. I will just have an additional way to sign.
So this means either I go for the mobile ID and I can use the ERA app evidence,
right.
as it is, or I say, hey, there is a new way to approve signatures. It's passkey,
Exactly.
for example. Then I'm redirected to a new identification. Okay.
Exactly.
So
just to
there
be
is
clear.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, the ERA app is not the app to approve. Huh? The ERA app is only the app for the agent to onboard somebody, but the person then approves with mobile ID or with passkey or whatever. Huh? Just to be sure.
Then we have further questions by Michael Zanotti.
Yeah, and once again, when I have my own end-to-end solution, including the identification and Willensbekundung, do I need an audit for this? Not if you have your own end-to-end solutions using one of our standards for the Willensbekundung, so for the signature approval, and for one of the standards we're using for the identification. So if you are happy with this, there is no need for an audit. The next thing is, if you have an own identification method, which is already audited, for example, according to the ETSI standard 119.461, we can also add it without any audit. Yeah. But nevertheless, we have to do then an implementation concept, but probably we do not need any audit for this. If you have an identification method which was never audited beforehand, of course, you have to undergo an audit. Yeah, so this is, I think, the answer for the three cases which is possible here.
Wasn't that question also going in the direction of the re-audit needs of the cycle?
And of course, if an audit is necessary, also a re-audit is necessary every 3 years. Yeah. And then for both, for the EU jurisdiction and for the 30S, so Swiss jurisdiction. So discrete validator was already answered. So there will be something from the BIT, from the Federal Administration. Any other question? You could also raise your hand and speak it just up if something is necessary to mention.
And then I propose we count down.
Yes. Okay. Last chance.
Sunny weekend is waiting. Yeah.
Quite a few questions already in here. So thank you very much